Hey everybody, we're here at 18482 Southern Hills Way in Yorba Linda, our luxury listing here at 2.6 million, and we're at this gorgeous kitchen showing you how to make cappuccino cookies with our professional pastry chef, Emily Gregory. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
They already look delicious, and I understand the process is going to be relatively simple for us all to be able to make some.
They look intimidating, but they're actually pretty simple. So we can go ahead and start.
Yeah, that's great.
Good. So this is the creaming method, which you're just gonna put my cup of butter is already in here, and then you throw in your sugar.
How long do you usually run that for?
Until the sugar and the butter is completely mixed together, and it looks like, with brown sugar, it looks almost like a wet sand.
I see.
And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna microwave our 2 tablespoons of milk because the instant coffee needs to melt. And I'm going to throw it in for probably like 15 seconds because it doesn't need that long.
It's nice that you break out the ingredients in these different containers.
Yeah.
Is just easier for you to keep track? I see that there's like different indicators of like how much you put in there.
Yeah, so it definitely helps, and in the industry we call that mise en place. And so it's all of your ingredients are measured out. It makes the process a lot faster.
Yeah.
And typically at home I would put all my dries into one container, but since I'm showcasing, so I just put my instant coffee into my milk. Sorry, I did not show you that very efficiently there. Just make sure it's all dissolved. And the reason I did that now is so that it's not too hot when I mix it in with my eggs and everything else.
What would be too hot? Or like why wouldn't you want it too hot?
It'll cook your eggs before.
Oh, I see.
So you don't want to add like hot liquids to anything with eggs unless it's going to mix right away. And you don't want to add sugar too quickly to your eggs because sugar will cook your eggs.
Oh, I see.
But the next step in here is to add our eggs. And we'll go ahead and add our 2 eggs. Just one at a time, roughly. Let it mix in there a little bit, and then add your second one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Emily, I know in your career you worked at many restaurants, many different places. Tell us a little bit about some of the experiences you've had.
I've had a lot of great experiences in the restaurant industry. I've worked mainly in like Relais and Chateau resorts, which is, if you know that, then it's the top of the top, restaurants and resorts. So I've worked in some where a lot of congressmen or senators live or vacation to, or celebrities vacation to. So there's a high standard of excellency that you must meet. And that's how I found my love for working in resorts, opposed to fast-paced restaurant.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I'm guessing fast-paced restaurants, like the dishes come out obviously quicker, or like it's all about the speed?
It's the speed, and it's not so much quality.
Got it.
So when you're in a big restaurant, you can't have the same quality as a smaller, resort where I'm serving maybe max 150 people a night, as opposed to a restaurant that I might have 500 covers a night.
Right. At the same time, it could be like really daunting too, right? Like you don't know who's gonna be walking in and through those doors. It could be a celebrity, it could be a congressperson. I'm sure you've had, or like maybe your coworkers have had some bad stories about this dish was not acceptable, I want it cooked, or something along those lines.
Yes. So some celebrities like to have certain diets in the afternoon and not in the morning. And that's a little frustrating.
Who would that be? Is there anyone we know?
Vince Vaughn, specifically.
Vince Vaughn, huh?
Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my vanilla real quick, my half teaspoon of vanilla. And so Vince Vaughn likes, apparently years ago, I don't know if he still is, but is vegan in the morning, or not in the morning, in the afternoon, but not in the morning. He has his buttermilk biscuits and eggs, but for lunchtime, he's supposed to have a vegan dessert apparently. So I'm adding
and you were in charge of the vegan desserts.
Yes. So when I heard that he had buttermilk biscuits for breakfast, I was like, oh, I don't need to make it. Apparently I do. So that's all right though. Yeah. I guess when you're a celebrity, you gotta do what you want, right?
Yep. You have that flexibility.
Yeah.
You have that power to be able to choose.
So I'm gonna add my instant coffee and milk in there.
So you let that sit for probably a good couple minutes.
Yeah, because I really don't want it to get in there and cook the egg, because it'll just mess it. It'll make it taste a little funky or texture-wise.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and add my flour. It's 4 cups of flour. This makes a lot of dough. And turn that down so you don't get flour everywhere.
What speed did you turn it down to?
On to stir. So it was on 2, and now we're gonna go down to stir. There are covers and stuff you can use so that flour doesn't go everywhere. I don't know. You can use them or not, totally up to you. And then we can add our spices at the same time. So we have a teaspoon of baking powder. I usually add that in with my flour, but for today's purpose of showing you, I just wanted to show you one step at a time. There's a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. And I love Trader Joe's nutmeg. It seems fresher. You can also get whole nutmeg from Trader Joe's, and that is really nice for in the winter when you have eggnog. Just shave some fresh nutmeg. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I use sea salt as opposed to regular salt just for health purposes or nutrient purposes. And then we'll save this white chocolate for the end.
What I really like about what I'm seeing is that you write on the label on your, but then it's obviously not permanent ink. You're able to erase it and reuse
chalk
it again.
marker.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I use chalk marker on all my stuff. So we're pretty much done. I'm just gonna give it a good scrape down.
Okay. Tell us about the process, because like you're coming up with so many different recipes.
Yeah, so I went to culinary school, and I did not get like a degree per se, more of a certificate, which is just as great when you're getting the training out in the field, because it's really all about in the field and your talent and your skill there. And then I learned from a bunch of other pastry chefs throughout my time.
Yeah.
I got to take a class from the King of Chocolate in New York City, Francois Paillard, who was a really good teacher.
Wow.
And I still follow him on Instagram now. So Instagram is a thing now. Back then it wasn't quite as popular.
Right. Which is awesome, right? Because you can see what other people are doing, follow them, be inspired in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Emily, what are we doing now?
So now, if you could hand me the plastic wrap, my fancy Costco plastic wrap, we're gonna just roll these into like a log basically, and then you can throw it in the freezer or the fridge. So if you're gonna make it right away, I would say the fridge. But you just take a good clump there, and you're gonna get a lot of dough out of this. And the reason I did the bigger dough is because it has such a small amount of milk and has a small amount of milk and a small amount of instant coffee. This is probably a bigger log than I would normally do, but this would make it that size cookie. So it would make a good round. So cut them into a little 1/4 or 1/2 inch, and then that's I'll show you.
Got it.
I usually make them a little smaller, but for today's purpose, we'll just do that nice plump log of dough. And you can freeze it for up to 6 months. So say you want to do some, say you want to do some for a dinner party or just to have, you can put some in and not all of it.
How long does it take to defrost when you freeze that?
If you're putting it on the counter, probably, because you don't want it to completely defrost. You want it to be kind of firm still, so that when you go to cut it, it doesn't smash.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's like you can even cut it frozen if you wanted.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Just be a little harder on your knife.
And then would you just bake it after that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just roll it up in here. That way your hands aren't getting all in it.
Smart.
Like my children's hands were trying to. But yeah, so you can do different size logs. It'll change your baking time a little bit.
Got it.
But so if you do thinner ones, then it'll be
that makes
time.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, so you can make a good amount.
Yes.
So with all the ingredients that you have, how many would you say you would be able to make?
Probably, let's see, I did a dozen with that one log. That was about this size. So this one will give you about a dozen, and if I were to do them all, I'd probably get 5 dozen.
So that one's gonna take about a dozen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do have some chilling right now, and I'll go ahead and get those out.
Cool.
All right, so I just grabbed the chilled dough from the fridge, got it unwrapped and put it on my cutting board. That's why it looks a little funky there. But
how long would you need to chill it for normally?
About 30 minutes.
Okay.
So you can chill it for 30 minutes, cut off the ends, and then you can do like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch slice, whatever that looks like, I would say.
Is it not a good thing if you cut it too big or cut it too small?
If you cut it too small, it'll be crunchier. If you cut it too big, it'll just take longer to bake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, like a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll just line those up. And they really don't need to be too far apart because they don't really spread.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say this is a recipe that's good to do with your kids or those who are like aspiring young toddlers who want to be?
Maybe not toddlers because there's caffeine in it.
Oh yeah,
technically.
Makes sense.
My children did try it, and then I left. So I don't know how they are right now.
That's so funny.
It's totally fine.
Yep, exactly. Smart.
Yeah.
Hey, so I see this this mat that's on your pan. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, the mat?
Yes, so silpats are my favorite thing. They're my husband's least favorite thing.
Why is that?
Because he has to clean them.
Got it.
But,
Got it.
To me, they're my favorite thing because it takes the place of parchment paper and it makes it flat. When you have parchment paper on a cookie sheet, if you're doing cakes or something, it doesn't necessarily stay flat on the edges.
Oh, okay.
So this makes it nice to where it stays really flat, and it's pretty versatile. I can use my fondant on there. I can put cookies on there. I don't have to spray it.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah, so we're gonna bake these at 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then if you were to go bigger, obviously longer. And then they'll just be like firm when you're not quite firm, but firm enough to where your fingerprint's not gonna leave a mark when it's done.
So what happens if it like you pull it out and it's like, oh, it's not quite ready yet?
You can throw it back in.
Just throw it back in. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it hasn't been sitting for a long time,
Okay.
you can throw it back in. Yeah. All right, so we've baked them and they've come out of the oven and they're cooled off now. You want them to be completely cooled off before you do this next step. And then I took some Ghirardelli white chocolate chips. They can just be the chocolate chips, doesn't have to be the baking chips. So you don't waste your money on melting ones, and you can put these in other cookies.
Oh, okay.
So these will go, I already melted some earlier, and I'm just gonna throw those in there. And most of them in there, huh? There we go.
There it is.
We're gonna put them in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time. You never wanna go more than 30 seconds at a time when you're melting chocolate because it'll burn really quick. All right, so we've melted down our white chocolate a little bit.
Nice.
It's pretty.
So it's soft enough where you're able to mix it.
Yeah.
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 But then how do you know if it's burnt? Especially, or I guess white chocolate you can tell.
It'll have like caramelized looking chocolate.
Got it.
But it's really burnt and it does not taste good. So this microwave is pretty good.
Yeah.
At home, I had to do it for about 45 seconds to get to that one. Okay. So there's a couple different ways you can, you can do this. You can dip them like so. And you get kind of like a thinner.
How much caffeine would this be?
There's 2 tablespoons throughout the whole batter.
Okay.
So it's not a ton.
Right.
But for my toddlers, it's too much. So my husband prefers this way. And these, if you want that white chocolate to harden faster, you can throw it in the refrigerator.
Okay. And how long would you throw it in the refrigerator for?
5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So my husband likes the dipped version.
Okay.
I discovered this morning, actually, that I actually like to do with a spoon, and then you kind of swirl it on top. Because that, to me, looks more like a cappuccino than that, right?
Yeah. Is there a certain amount you should be putting on, or would be too much or too little?
Just enough to cover it, really. I mean, this one's probably a little bit thicker, but it's got a pretty strong flavor.
Okay.
So the white chocolate will add to it and be a nice addition, because that coffee flavor is pretty strong in these. Yeah, so just like that. And then before you throw them in the fridge, you can put some cocoa powder. I actually use cacao powder, which is just a little bit different in that it has more enzyme. It's raw cocoa.
Okay.
Cocoa beans, really. So they're crushed and they're raw. They're not toasted. So there are more enzymes in it.
Okay. And enzymes are a good thing, bad thing,
it's good
taste
thing.
Okay.
Good thing. They're like healthy.
Got it.
So they're healthier cocoa powder, right?
Yep. Oh, interesting. What's this?
This is the cacao powder that we're
But what's this contraption?
Oh, this is really just a strainer, but it helps with just powdering on
Oh,
the
interesting.
cocoa.
I've never seen that before.
So yeah, so just like that. And
Wow.
then you'll throw it in the fridge and they'll come out looking like this.
So we have our colleague here, Hallie, our listing manager for the Ron Arnold team and realtor, and she's going to be trying out the cookies, the cappuccino cookies that Emily is making.
Yes, I'm super excited. I've been hearing great things. So, anyone?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go to this one.
I want to take a bite too.
This is so good.
Mmm.
You can taste the coffee, but I would dip it still in coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
So we just showed you how to make cappuccino cookies with our professional pastry chef, Emily Gregory. Follow her on Instagram, Pastry Chef EG. She's been doing it for 10 years, been in the industry. These are amazing cookies that we're able to try out. Also, if you want to find out information about our property here, Ron Arnold team, we have it listed in Yorba Linda, 18482 Southern Hills Way, $2.6 million luxury listing, and it's amazing. You'll want to check out all the different features that are here. So we thank you all so much. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. And until next time, take care.